Hello everyone. In today's video, we'll be trying to figure out how to add different leveling up systems or basically number systems into our game. We are using BuildBox, and one of the things about BuildBox is it has two things that it measures specifically when it comes to playing a video game. That is distance and that is the score. So when it comes to numbers, for the most part, you only have those two choices in order to, I guess, document or in order to show up on your UI screen when you're making your video game. However, today we're going to try to establish other kinds of systems in order to use them as monetary systems in our video game. So one of the things we're going to implement today is another way of having points or money specifically, because in BuildBox, your money or your points, your score is what is or can be used as like to make in-app purchases or in-game purchases sometimes. And I would like to put that or make that another number, basically a separate number. Also, we want experience. I want you to have a specific amount of experience that you have to get to in order to obtain certain elements of the game also in the future. So we're basically going to be experimenting with BuildBox numbers today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, and hopefully we find out some information that you guys need to know. Now, in order to figure this out, I'm actually going to show you the process that I go through, but you guys can feel free to fast forward or use any of the timestamps provided in the description. Also, a full-fledged BB docs is going to be provided in the description as well when we finally finish this project. So make sure that you subscribe, and as you get updated devlogs on this project specifically, well, that's the only way you're going to get them. If you don't know by now, I'm Debonair, your host of this here channel known as Indie Year, although we're thinking of a title change in the future. So if you do see that title change, let me know in the comment section when you notice it. So let me see. So we have loot. So this is getting loot, loot boxes, I guess. But as I said, I want a tutorial about, let's say money. So we'll type this into, right now we're typing it into YouTube. And so this is ways to make money, how to make money. But here we go. We have coin shop with multiple characters. So this is actually a specific build box tutorial. And let me close all of these tabs because Google is not my friend when it comes to recording. I'm currently recording on a GT 1030. I definitely would appreciate any donations so that I can upgrade to a better graphics card. And also the CPU I'm using is an i5. I definitely need to upgrade to like an i7 or something. Actually, I need to look into that. To be honest with you. But everything is probably going to take a little while longer to
Glad you're back with us. This is
upload.
Zack
There we
again with
go.
BuildBox, and I'd like to welcome you to part 8 of the Make Your Own Game series. In part 7, we created 2 new game modes to play with, and we also created locked menu buttons for
So
those
as you can
modes.
see, it looks like a lot of games being made with BuildBox are definitely being made with BuildBox Classic, which is the 2D version of BuildBox. I personally like to use 3D, so I like BuildBox 3. So let's continue here.
Work towards unlocking them with in-game currency. In part 8, we are going to add a coin shop and cook up a way for players to buy different characters in that shop. The first thing we want to do is double click on our main menu and bring in a new graphic for our coin shop button.
All right, so that means that when we develop our things, we're going to need buttons that lead to those things. For instance, we're going to need a coin shop, but like I said, I want to have our very own points. I don't want to be obligated to using BuildBox's form of points in order to do this. And this is because once we make the game, right? Once we make the system, we'll know more about how some of the things function in BuildBox. Right now, when you use BuildBox, some of the functionality, such as, for instance, how labels work specifically on the UI screen, are unattainable. Meaning, yeah, you'll have a node of some sort, but that node is not editable. And remember, we're dragging and dropping when we're developing on with BuildBox. So that means that really it would be best if we had access to everything in BuildBox, but unfortunately we don't. So this is a way to develop our very own point system that could be shown on the screen, and that way when it comes to numbers, we can develop our very own systems, from point systems to distance systems to speed systems to experience systems and things of that nature. Also, we want other ways to document numbers specifically. In fact, now that I think about it, there is a special video from what is it? Two videos specifically. I'm thinking about it. From Mr. Penguin, boom, where he has an inventory system, and as you could see, these numbers show up here. So I'm wondering if I can use this system to create matter of fact, let me bring that up, to create the points, right? Because here he has all the different numbers showing up, and I'm hoping that if these numbers can go higher, then that can give us a way to easily make entire point systems. So in fact, this is part 1, and probably what we should do is follow both of these at the same time. Also, he has, as you can see, a drop box here where you can grab the assets. And do forgive me, as I said, my computer is not as highly upgraded as it could possibly can be.
And now we can see that all of our slots have an apple now. Let's rename our animations.
So I'm going to pause that right there. All right, so now we have this up on the screen. So we have 2. Now, hopefully, I'm not going to get any ideas to bring up anymore. So we're going to look at Zack's first, and then we're going to look at Mr. Penguin's over here, Smart Penguin's over here.
Let's name the button and go back into the mind map and duplicate our turbo UI. Let's rename this UI Coin Shop and double click on it and go in and remove buttons and other things that we don't want to show.
All right, so he's going to remove some things from an old UI screen.
Okay.
And he just has coins and he has a label here.
For a character store, let's talk about duplicating characters. We will go into our original world and select.
Now, as he said, he wants to duplicate a character in order to have that character present on the UI screen so that you can select that character after making the purchase of that character. I personally don't care about that right now, but if you do, links in the description to this video specifically are going to be there. And also we'll look into that when that situation comes up. Right now, what is more important to us is actually what he uses as money, or what he uses as coins, what he uses to show the coins, and what he uses to spend the coins. And I'm hoping it's not just points. If it's points, we can't use this YouTube video, and I'm sorry for wasting your time. I'm going to skip ahead
And tweak it a little bit. Let's select our character.
So actually, let's skip to the end.
We will cover that whole process.
All right, and let's go here.
Character button will disappear from the menu button, which you could Next, there's options here for the label, such as changing the amount of space you need to label the store. Next, menu and resize this by making it bigger character separately. Let's drag a multiple unlock button into our menu in the single unlock button and the multiple unlock button. The single will let you list each character separately. Let's drag a multiple unlock button into our menu and resize this by making it bigger so there is more area for our user to swipe in. There's options here for the label, such as changing the amount of space you need to label the store. And we can make as many as we want, but a few will get us started. So let's go back into the coin shop now and create a way to buy these characters. In the character section, we see two buttons we could use as a way to purchase characters: the single unlock button and the multiple unlock button. The single will let you list each character separately. Let's drag a multiple unlock button into our menu and resize this by making it bigger so there is more area for our user to swipe in. There's options here for the label, such as changing the amount of space you need to label the store. Next, let's drag a graphic in for an unlock button. This is the graphic that you have to touch in order to unlock your character. Even one for when you don't have enough currency. And a graphic for a random unlock button, which you could also set up with the character button. Just drag it in and select unlock random characters. Once you have them all, the random unlock character button will disappear from the menu. There are a lot of neat things you can.
All right, so it's looking like he has coins here, number here, okay? And once you get to a certain number, those characters are going to automatically be unlocked. So and that could also be a distance, same thing. When you get to a certain distance, those characters are automatically going to be unlocked. I kind of sort of don't need that.
Let's just make it 10 coins.
Okay, so here you go. So let's see. As we can see, we have purchase method right here. I don't know if you guys can see it up on the screen, but this says purchase method and this says price. So this is game over events. What is this? Monetization. In-game currency. Okay. So let's see if we personally have access to that in BuildBox. Although I don't think we have access to that. Unless of course you have a higher tier of the account. Right now we like to do everything for free. So I'm hoping that we get the same benefits. If we don't, we gotta figure out something else. And fortunately, I think Mr. Smart Penguins has a good idea for how we're going to do that. So I'm just going to open a 3D because I don't know. I think some of the things that are available are for 2D and some things are available are for 3D. So it's possible you may have to mix the two platforms up. You may have to mix the 2D with the 3D to get the effects that you want. So we're actually possibly going to have to create a UI screen. So that's what I'm going to do and load it here. I'm going to go to the UI screen after double tapping, and I'm going to scroll down. As you can see, we have an unlock button, and we don't have a multiple lock button or anything like he showed before. So in fact, I'm going to go bring in a 2D world, although I don't think that's really going to change what we have access to. I'm going to go back into this UI screen and see if we get more stuff. And no, we still have the same kind of unlock button. We have a regular lock button, but we don't have multiple lock buttons. Of course, this is because also this video is from 2021, it's 2022, and there have been some updates to both of the platforms. So that is kind of out of the question. Next, though, monetization on the monetization screen. So I'm going to check. Let's see. It looks like that might be somewhere else. Hold on, let me see. Go back here. And what screen is he on?
Let's just make it 10 currency, and you'll see a few options in here. Options. You'll see a few options in here, but we want in-game currency.
Ah, so it looks like he went inside of a character. I'm gonna tap a character. There's nothing here. All right, I'm gonna scroll and tap the character over here. Let's see. Yeah, there's nothing different over here, to be honest with you. Let me see about adding BuildBox and see if they have like a monetization section for the BuildBox. No, no monetization section for the BuildBox either. So let's go into the cube, and yeah, I think monetization here. This is purchase, and when you swipe here or when you place it here, it's going to give you this upgrade, right? You need to make the upgrade. We have interstitial, okay, and we have enable ads or reward, etc., right after a video. So that is not going to be available for us free users. So that means it's good that I skipped ahead. We can remove this. And now we're going to be looking at smart penguins. Now, he is creating an inventory system. This inventory system we are going to use for other projects in the future also. But as I stated, right now we're focusing on using elements from the inventory system that will at least allow us to have a number which we can make sure which will be manipulated based on what's going on in the game, such as how much experience you have or how much experience points or things you've collected. And then we can use those numbers to help make systems in the game. But first, we need a way to generate these numbers separate from the points or distance system native to BuildBox. Let's continue.
Add a different item to our slot. To do that, let's duplicate apple. Select it. Let's drag carrot inside our animation. Let's rename it to carrot.
So right now he's setting it up so that he has a object that spawns or appears and that he can manipulate, so it shows up in that section, right? In these sections here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? All the carrots and apples. And then he's going to have a way for those carrots and apples. Like right now, these two have 5 on them, right? So he's going to have a way for those carrots and apples to be calculated, and calculate how many you have. Once you extinguish those, these slots should appear to be empty. So let's continue. We have an ad coming up in 5 seconds.
Underneath our item. So
I'm gonna mute the ads. Okay. And actually, this is Fiverr. Fiverr is an awesome platform that you guys can use in order to actually hire people to help you with your video game design and so much more. I'm actually on Fiverr, and I'm going to leave links in the description to my Fiverr page specifically. If you guys need any help with anything, just let me know and we'll see what we can negotiate. So this is Miro, and I have no idea what it is. I have never used it before. And I'm actually going to skip it. Oh, it looks like staying on task with that one. Oh, cool, Art. We want to hear this.
Now it's on top. Now let's position our label to top right corner. Let's scale it down to 0.5.
Okay. So what we have on the screen, I actually have to enlarge this so that I can read it better. So what he has here is start. Then he has random, over and under for what that is. We're going to have to learn what that is. Then he has a state machine that either shows apple or carrot. And then he has the label that goes over them. And this label is a number. It says text 5, 10, 15, etc. So, but right now, labels normally do not change, okay? And so since labels normally do not change, I want to see how he makes it so that it does change. So, matter of fact, let me zoom in big on that.
It will be smaller. And let's position it to 0.6 and 0.6. Press play. And now we can see the number in the top right corner. Let's try a bigger number. Let's try a 3-digit number. 1, 2, 3. Press play. and you can see that our number is getting out of our slot. To fix that, we can go and change our alignment to align right. Press play. And now the number doesn't get out of the slot, but we have a bigger gap. Let's adjust our X for that gap. Set it to 0.8. Press play. That's more like it. And let's try again with a smaller number. Now we have a label that's working. Now let's change our font to stand out better on the slot.
Yeah.
Let's go to our font editor, which is in the top right corner. Click on it. Now we get a font builder. Let's go to BuildBox documentation and look at font builder. And in here we can see that we have our templates, and we have our font preview window, and then our option panel. In our options panel, let's change our main color to iron. Click OK. Let's add a stroke to our font, and we'll disable the gradient. And let's add a shadow. Close our font builder, and now you can see that we modified our label font.
Ooh!
Now, let's add a touch visual effect to our slot. For that, let's duplicate our slot by clicking W, leave one as slot, and the other one, let's call it touched. Let's change the color of our slot touched. We'll use a steel color, and we'll make it 50% transparent. We'll need to add a state machine to switch between the animations. Let's go to our node panel, and this time we'll use the search to find it. Let's start typing it. There's our state machine. Let's add two states. Let's remove the connections. And now let's connect state 1 to slot and state 2 to slot touched. And let's connect created to state 2 to see how slot touched looks. So let's add the ability to detect touch and switch state. For that, let's go to controls and add a is touched node. Let's switch on created, start with a state 1, and on is touched, let's switch to state 2. Press play. And now you can see if we click on one, it changes the state and stays there. Now let's add ability. If you release the button, it will change back the state. Is touched node outputs true when the object is touched and returns false when the object is not touched. And to switch state, we need the input to be true. So we need a way to convert false to true so that when we get false from is touched, we switch the state. Let's go on our node panel, and under actions, we have a signal invert. Let's add that to our map, and let's connect in from a touched and out to our state 1. So let's play. And now you can see if we touch it and release it, it switches back. Now let's work on getting the number to decrease each time we click on a slot. For that, we'll need to be able to modify our label. And BuildBox does not have a node yet for that. We'll have to create our own script.
Woo!
Let's go
Okay.
Advanced, and let's drag in a script node. And if we click Edit button, we get a script editor. To get documentations about scripting, let's go to Help and click JavaScript API reference. You can use this page to look up all the functions that are made available by BuildBox. A new script node starts with 4 functions. Init is the first function that will run when the asset gets loaded.
So this is our most important element of the game, okay? It's going to be that script function, okay? So we're going to go and do exactly what he says, and we're going to basically use the script node to begin making our very own script, and it's still set up the exact same way with the exception of return this. And no, it's not. I think we have a function request that is different. Whereas his only had the 4, right? So this means that just for safety purposes, I'm going to get rid of that. Bye. Okay? Bye. We going to get rid of that, all right? So that means we shouldn't need this extra thing here. I can't even remember what the name is, so forgive me, guys. Matter of fact, no. Just for safety purposes, we're going to get rid of the whole thing. Get rid of the whole thing. Make sure that it looks exactly like what he has on his screen. Okay, right? Ours is at 15. His was at 16. Um. Oh, cause of that extra, the extra. So we'll do an extra. Okay. So just make sure everything matches. I think.
After that,
Oh yeah, we have to have our label. So let's find the label real fast. Okay. Label. The text he had was 5. We want it center, top, and right. That's how he had it. And remember, we were using the label, and there was a font editor somewhere around here in our 3D world. Nope, no font editor there. UI screen. I don't see a font editor here. Here we go. Maybe this could be it. We removed the gradient. No gradient. We have a shadow. Where is the font editor? Let's see. We have help, add box tools, the tools. No, no. Yeah, I'm not seeing where the font editor is. So hopefully this will help me. Bam. Okay. And we want this label. I'll put a label inside here. Let's see where it shows up at. It says 3D mode, but we'll just hit play, see where the label shows up at, call it a day. All right, so the label shows up right there. Pretty cool. And it's black, it's visible. That's good enough for me. I guess it's to the right. I think he positioned it at like 8. I'm gonna do it one more time, see where it shows up at. Cool. All right, so anyway, um let us go. Oh, we were working on the script. So the script that he was getting ready to make. Let's do this.
the start function is going to run. Update functions runs every frame. And signal function runs when one of our inputs in our node receives a new signal. For this node, we'll just use the signal function. In our script node, let's add an input.
Okay, so then the cool thing about this is once we create this, we can take and export it from this project and into all of our other projects. So if you ever need this again, instead of having to make your whole new script, you can save this in files and use it. All right. So that's what I think you guys should definitely be doing. And if you need to know how to do that, I'll be leaving a link in the description to a video on how to export objects from one project and into another project.
And it's call it value. And in our options panel,
What did he call it? He called it value. So he said we're only using the signal function, but I'll worry about that later. And we're going to call this value as he stated here. Okay. Now we're going to hit play.
Let's click add attribute. And let's add a text attribute.
All right. So he says we're going to add an attribute, add a text attribute. Booyah. Here we go. And I believe we're probably going to name it value. Now I could be wrong, but I think I've been using BuildBox long enough to know that it should be. Looks like the attribute name value is already being used. Please choose a name in order to continue. Oh. Oh. So I was wrong. So he's going to tell us what I'm supposed to put instead.
And we'll call it label name.
Ah, label name. Okay. Label name. I wonder did he capitalize like I did, or I mean, let's see, did he capitalize? Yeah, okay, cool.
We'll set the label name to the name of the label that we're trying to edit. And the label name that we use for count is label. Let's rename our...
Ah, interesting. Okay. So the label name that we used is label, because that's the name of the node. And he's changing the script name to
value to label. Now we need to get reference to our label
value to label. Okay. So we're changing the script name itself from script to value to label. All right. I'm hoping you guys can see, but if you can't see, as I said, I'm going to do my best to make sure that I put all of this information into the video for you, so that you can use this as often as you can. I'll also provide BB docs again once the project is complete. The easiest and quickest way to motivate me to complete a project, because I have a lot of projects, but all you got to do is subscribe and like the video. That's about it.
object in our signal script. Each object in the game, BuildBox calls an entity in script. If we go to the documentations, under script node, we can find the function entity, which returns an entity object of this script node. And if we click on a function, BuildBox gives us an example how to use it. In this example, we use let ent to create a new variable called ent and set that entity to the variable. And then we can use ent variable to run functions that are available in entity. So let's copy the script and let's add it to our function. Now,
okay, so let int equal this entity. So we can do that. I'm just going to put it in there. I'm gonna hit tab once though, because that's what excuse me, that's what it looks like it was. So let ent equal this dot entity, right? And then bye. I don't even type fast. I probably spelt it wrong. Let's see. Hey, oh, wait. I didn't make sure that it can execute. Remember, we got to make sure it can execute, guys. Bye out. There we go. Okay.
we'll have access to entity. Now let's go to our entity, and inside our entity documentations, we have a function component which searches components with a specific name in the current entity and returns if it's found. Otherwise, returns null. Let's click on component name, and there's an example of how to find the component. And in this example, we have let collide equals this entity component, and we look for if collide name. After that,
so it's going to be looking. So I'm listening to him, and I'm thinking this means that we can have dot component, right? Component, right? And then we're going to put label. And it looked like it had the, did it have those? Because I thought the color, nope, the color was green for those things. So let me see how he got. Oh no, I was right. I was right. It's yellow. It was yellow. All right, cool. So voila. Right. This is what you want to do if you're trying to learn. You're trying to figure things out. He's explaining it to us very well, very slowly. Although we can fast forward and go back and rewind, but also you want to kind of sort of attempt to predict what he's going to say, so so you get confirmation from your own brain that you're doing everything right, so hopefully this doesn't go or look as slowly as I think it's recording, but as I said, we need upgrades over here. So let's finish this one out, and then we can, like I said, we can use this label manipulation in order to have a way for our game, hint hint wink wink nudge nudge, or have a way to create numerical systems in our games. So hopefully I can do that.
Uses a if statement passing the variable in that checks if the collide is not null. If it's not null, then we can continue our operations. Let's copy this code and let's paste it in. Fix the format. This entity will replace with ent that we created on the previous line. And since we're looking for a label.
Wow, he did not do what I did at all. Instead, he redoes this one. So let me go back to that. So we just leave that by itself. Amazing. Okay. So I'm going to have to remove this part. So I'm going to cut it, but I know I'm going to write it again. I'm going to cut it. Okay. I'm going to hit enter. And we're going to say let label, because it sounds like you're saying label, or is it let value? I think it might be let value. Let's see.
And let's change our variable name to label. Let's change it in if statement too. And we can remove this line. Let's switch if collide to label. That's the name of
let label equal entity component label. Got me a little confused, but we'll see. Let label equal this entities that we're in. So entity, I spelled that wrong. Entity dot component. Yeah, definitely spelled entity wrong. Whoa, why is mine still not working properly? What am I doing wrong? Equal int. Okay. Mine is definitely not working like his. Int component. This is definitely what happens when you don't know how to code. Because I still am not getting nothing that he has. Int dot component int. Oh, right. You don't get it until you get the brackets. I do the brackets and then label. Okay. And then something like that. All right. So I have it set up right here. Let's see what else we get. Let me see. He says if label. So we're going to go down here and write if label, right? Now, did he capitalize? No, he kept it lowercase. So if label, let's continue.
That we have. And now let's change the text of our label. Let's go back to our documentation. Let's go to UI, label, and now we can see that there is a set text function that we can use to set the value. So if our label is not null, let's do label dot set text, and let's pass in a string of hi.
Okay, okay. I like that. I like that. I like that. Oh, wait. We gotta go back real quick. We gotta go back just a little bit. Just boom. So what? Okay, okay. So check label is null. So it looks like we do need the brackets, so we're going to have to add that just to be on the safe side. So let's add our brackets. Okay. And for some reason my computer added multiple black brackets. And let's hit enter on one, enter on another, and we're going to say, he says label dot set text set text, which had these. Oh, about this, I need to learn the names. I need to learn the names of all of these. Okay, so set the text, and inside he said we can set the string of hi, and we're going to, I think I'm gonna hit the play button right now. I'm getting excited. I'm gonna hit the play button right now. If it says hi on it, then oh wait, yeah, it's not going to say hi yet because we did not connect. We didn't connect, and in fact we need an output, to be honest with you. But I think we need an output. I could be wrong. Yeah, it did it. It really did it. Okay, so now what? All right, so we're gonna go back to the video.
And let's pass in a string of hi. And now let's connect is touch node to value to label. Press play. If we touch one of them, we can see all of the slots change to hi. The reason behind that is how isTouch works. So if you touch one, it says true for the one you touch, but all the other ones receive false. To fix that, we can go to action and add a signal filter and put the signal through signal filter.
Now, right now, again, I'm not worrying about touching. Okay, I'm not worrying about touching. I'm worried just about getting that label up and functioning and able to be added to or subtracted from. That way, once it can be added to or subtracted from, we can have that label be things like experience, things like a specific number of an item, things like separate coins from the points system that's initially in BuildBox. And also, by him showing us this documentation, this is also showing us what is inside some of the nodes that we do not have access to. One of those things, again, being the label in and of itself, right? Let's go continue the video.
We'll set pass only to true and out to value. What we want to do is say string and use the value that we get from the signal and input in here. The
Woohoo!
reason for using string is so that any input type can be converted to a string.
Ah, yes. Okay. So we go back into the label to value to label. And now we go inside of the set text section. And we go, what we're going to do is, he said we can use string. And whatever the value is, so we can actually go here where we see value, right? We can copy and paste that here. All right. And now, I think string is supposed to be a capitalized. So I'm gonna make sure it's capitalized just to be on the safe side. And let's see what else.
Press play.
Before CodeWorks, I was teaching
This is
English.
codeworks.me. They have limited seats. Links. I'm gonna look this up and see if the links are in the description for that. But I'm gonna skip ahead because I don't know what it's even about.
Instead of displaying high, it says true, which is the input that we get from the isTouch. If we bypass the filter, run it like that, now we can see isTouch value of every slot. Last thing that we'll add to this node is the ability to receive the label name from our attribute. To do that, let's go check script when we have this function attribute available for us. And how we call the value of the attribute is this attribute and pass in the attribute name. Let's copy this code.
All right, so it looks like after that he's going to have. Okay, let's not try to predict this one. Where is he going to put? Oh, he might put it up here. He might put it like in between all these lets. You know, it's kind of easy to keep all the lets the same.
And let's put it in at line 2. Rename the variable to label name.
But label name.
And let's copy our attribute name.
Cool.
And now we can use this label name when we're getting the component. Let's replace our label string with our new label name variable.
Okay. All right, so again, in the let section, basically, we're gonna move up one, and we're gonna let lowercase label name equal this this dot attribute. I think it's 2 T's, attribute. Right? And it's going to equal this right here. Okay, the label name. So I copy, paste it here, right? Which we can hit here, go over, add this here. I'm sorry, I wish I knew these names. And then what we do with this is we copy this and we paste it here. All right. Did I do that right?
Now we're done with it.
Yeah? Oh, okay. So I can remove these actually. All right. And
this node. Let's test it, and we can see that it still functions correctly. And if we go change our label to count and run it now, it's not working anymore. Now let's go into our value label and change it to count here. And now it's connected again. Now that we have a node that can change value of a label.
So what he was just showing there is that this script is going to be looking for whatever your label name is, okay? So right now, if you change the name, because it's going to be looking for this here, that label, right? And no, actually, nothing should work right now. Nothing should work right now. Oh no, it's going to be looking here. It's going to be looking here for this label name. So if we change this label's name, it won't be, this script won't be able to find it anymore. So whatever this label's name is what it's going to affect. Meaning that you could put multiple labels inside of here, theoretically, and this is what this script is going to change. So if you duplicate this and change the name of each label, you will have control over all the labels and only be using one asset. So I'm going to bring this video to a close right here. We've learned a lot from Mr. Smart Penguins, and I'm hoping that you continue to follow along with this series where we figure out how to manipulate the numbers so that we can have our very own numerical systems, such as experience points, coins of our own, power and attack, etc., etc. If that sounds like something you're into, you know what to do. But if you don't know what to do, rate, comment, subscribe, upvote, follow, hit the notification bell so you know as soon as I put my newest content out. But most importantly, please do share. I am Debonair, hoping to help you guys get your games up and running as fast as we possibly can here on the only channel that's going to do so, Indie, a show where you can make games. And in the meantime, I will see you guys in the next video.